When your own flesh and blood hurts the one you love most, that wound never truly heals. I still remember exactly how the room felt when I saw her. The Christmas lights cast a warm glow across the living room, laughter and conversation humming in the background as relatives mingled with drinks in hand. But the moment froze when my 7-year-old granddaughter Journey appeared at the top of the stairs. My heart stopped beating. Her head, completely shaved. Bare. Not a single curl remained of the beautiful hair I'd braided every Sunday after church. Journey's eyes met mine across the room, filled with shame and confusion, her small hand nervously touching her exposed scalp. But what knocked the breath from my lungs wasn't just the sight of her bald head. It was the sound of my son-in-law Andre's laughter ringing out as he stood proudly beside her. "Doesn't she look tough?" he announced to the stunned room, his hand gripping Journey's shoulder too tightly. "Like a little warrior." Journey's lips trembled. My daughter Tanya stood nearby, her smile not reaching her eyes, fingers twisting her wedding ring in that nervous habit I recognized all too well. In that single moment, I knew. This wasn't about a haircut. This was about control. I'd seen the signs for months. How Tanya's voice would drop to a whisper on phone calls when Andre walked into the room, how Journey no longer ran to the door when I visited, how Andre's jokes always seemed to cut just deep enough to draw blood without leaving a mark. But this visible erasure of my grandbaby's identity, made everything crystallize with horrifying clarity. As I crossed that room, my nurse's shoes barely making a sound on the hardwood floor, 61 years of life experience told me one thing. This family was in danger, and nobody at this party could see it but me. "What happened to her hair?" I asked, keeping my voice steady despite the rage building inside me. Andre's smile never wavered. "It's just hair. It'll grow back." His eyes challenged me, dared me to make a scene at his perfect Christmas party. Behind him, Journey's small shoulders hunched forward, making herself smaller. Making herself invisible. I knew then I would have to make a choice, keep the peace or protect my girls. Because sometimes, loving your family means fighting for them, even when the battle seems impossible to win. If you've ever had that gut feeling something was wrong in a loved one's life but weren't sure what to do about it, subscribe now. The next part of this story might just give you the courage to speak up when it matters most. Also download your ebook titled Suspense and Family Drama Short Stories by clicking the link in the pinned comment. What I didn't know that Christmas night was that Andre's true plan went far deeper than control. And I had less time than I thought to stop it. I've always been a fighter. Had to be, raising Tanya on my own after her daddy passed when she was only 8. For 35 years, I worked double shifts at Grady Memorial Hospital, coming home with my feet swollen but my head held high. I saw life begin and end in those hospital corridors. Learned that family is what keeps you standing when everything else falls apart. Tanya was my world. Smart as a whip, with her father's smile and my stubborn chin. I made sure she had opportunities one never did, piano lessons, college applications, a future beyond our small apartment. When she graduated with honors from Spelman College, I sat in that audience crying tears of pure joy. My baby had made it. Then Andre Washington walked into her life. He had credentials that impressed everyone. MBA from Howard, management position at a prestigious finance firm, that magnetic charm that drew people in like moths to a flame. When Tanya brought him home, I tried to be happy for her. I really did. "What do you think, Mama?" she'd asked, eyes shining after he left. "He's certainly accomplished," I said carefully. But something in his eyes bothered me from day one. The way they assessed everything, calculating value, measuring worth. When he looked at Tanya, I didn't see love. I saw acquisition. Their courtship was whirlwind fast. Within a year, they were married in an extravagant ceremony that Andre insisted upon, though it drained Tanya's savings. 6 months later, Journey arrived, tiny and perfect with a head full of curls. The first 3 years were peaceful enough. Andre built his career, Tanya worked part-time as an elementary school teacher, and Journey bloomed. That child was sunshine personified, curious, mischievous, with a laugh that could melt granite. She'd run through my house on Sunday afternoons, leaving trails of toys and cookie crumbs, telling elaborate stories about unicorn adventures. "Grandma Dot," she'd say, climbing into my lap with a book, "can we read forever?" Those moments were sacred. But around Journey's 4th birthday, I started noticing changes. Subtle at first, Tanya canceling our weekly lunch dates, Journey becoming quieter during visits, Andre calling repeatedly when Tanya was at my house. "Everything okay, baby?" I'd ask Tanya. "Just busy, Mama." "Andre's up for partner." "We're all a little stressed." Then came the incidents. Tanya showing up with makeup caked too thick on one cheek. Journey flinching when doors closed too loudly. Andre criticizing Tanya's cooking, her parenting, her appearance, always with that same smooth smile. "It's constructive feedback," he'd say when I frowned. "I want my family to be exceptional." I tried talking to Tanya once, sitting at my kitchen table over sweet tea. "Baby, are you happy? Really happy?" She'd looked at her phone, 3 missed calls from Andre already, and forced a smile. "We're building something important, Mama. Marriage takes work." Then Journey turned 7, and her spirit began to dim. The child who once danced through rooms started watching doorways. Her eyes constantly seeking permission before she spoke. I knew that look. I'd seen it in patients who lived with fear. But what could I do? Tanya insisted everything was fine. They had the perfect house in the perfect neighborhood with the perfect family photos on social media. But perfection always costs something. I just didn't know yet how high that price would be. "Journey will be down in a minute," Andre announced, checking his gold watch. "She's getting a special makeover for Christmas." The party was in full swing by then. Andre's colleagues from the firm mingled with Tanya's teacher friends and various family members. Their new house, a sprawling Tudor in Buckhead, gleamed with expensive decorations and catered food stations. Nothing like the warm, chaotic gatherings at my house, where folks piled plates high with comfort food and argued lovingly over board games. I stood near the fireplace, watching Tanya flit nervously between guests. Her eyes kept darting to the staircase, then to Andre, then back again. Something wasn't right. "Ladies and gentlemen," Andre called out, tapping his crystal glass with a silver spoon. The room quieted. "I'd like to present the newest look for my beautiful daughter." He gestured dramatically toward the stairs. A hush fell over the gathering as Journey appeared, led by a woman I didn't recognize. My grandbaby took each step slowly, her eyes downcast. The gasps were audible. Journey's head was completely shaved, not a single curl remained. Her scalp looked pale and vulnerable under the chandelier light. She wore an expensive party dress that hung awkwardly on her small frame, making her look even more exposed. "Isn't she fierce?" Andre boomed, walking over to pull Journey forward. "My little warrior decided traditional beauty standards are overrated." "Right, Journey." Journey said nothing. Her fingers kept touching her bare scalp, her eyes fixed on the floor. I pushed through the crowd, my heart hammering against my ribs. "Journey baby," I whispered, kneeling before her. "What happened to your beautiful hair?" Before she could answer, Andre stepped between us. "She kept complaining about detangling," he explained smoothly. "So I thought, why not start fresh? Hair grows back. No big deal." But the look in Journey's eyes told a different story. Terror. Shame. Loss. "Did you want your hair cut, sweetheart?" I asked, reaching past Andre to touch her hand. Journey's eyes flicked to her father, then back to me. "She absolutely did," Andre interrupted. Tell Grandma how exciting this is, Journey. Journey's lower lip trembled. It's exciting, she whispered. Tanya appeared beside us, her smile brittle as glass. Mama, let's not make a scene. It's Christmas. A scene. I stood up, my nurse's voice taking over, the one I used when doctors tried to intimidate me. You cut off a little girl's hair without considering how it might affect her. Look at her, Tanya. Really look at your daughter. The party guests had formed a circle around us, murmuring uncomfortably. Andre's aunt leaned toward his cousin, whispering something that made them both frown at me. It's just hair, Andre repeated, his smile hardening. Why are you so obsessed with her appearance, Dot? That's rather shallow, don't you think? I felt the trap closing, his words twisting mine, making me the villain. Classic manipulation. This isn't about appearance, I said evenly. This is about choice. Did Journey choose this? Of course Andre began. She cried. The voice came from behind us, Andre's cousin who had helped with the makeover. She looked uncomfortable. She cried the whole time, Andre. I told you we should stop. The room went silent. Andre's face darkened momentarily before the smile snapped back into place. Children cry about vegetables too. Sometimes parents know best. I looked at Tanya, silently pleading with her to stand up for her child. She stepped forward, placing her hand on Journey's shoulder. For a moment, hope flared in my chest. Let's move on to dinner, Tanya said instead, her voice hollow. The caterers are waiting. As guests awkwardly shuffled toward the dining room, I caught Journey's hand. Baby, did you want your hair cut off? Her eyes filled with tears as she whispered, Daddy said ugly girls need to learn lessons. My blood froze. Before I could respond, Andre appeared, wrapping his arm around Journey's shoulder. Time for dinner, princess. Grandma can sit at the kids' table if she keeps causing trouble. As they walked away, Tanya lingered behind. Please, Mama, she whispered urgently. Don't make this worse. You don't understand what's at stake. The fear in her eyes told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't just about a haircut. This was about breaking a child's spirit, and perhaps her mother's too. The days after Christmas passed in a fog of worry and unanswered calls. Tanya made excuses not to visit, each one flimsier than the last. Andre has a work event. Journey has a cold. We're redecorating. By New Year's, I'd had enough. I drove to their house unannounced, my heart pounding as I rang the doorbell. When Tanya answered, the shadows under her eyes told their own story. Mama, she whispered, glancing behind her. This isn't a good time. Make it one, I said, walking past her into the foyer. Where's my grandbaby? She's upstairs doing homework. Andre's monitoring her progress. The word monitoring sent chills down my spine. Tanya, I said, keeping my voice low, we need to talk about Christmas. She led me to the kitchen, checking over her shoulder repeatedly. The house felt different, tense, like the air before a storm. There's nothing to discuss, she said mechanically, busying herself with making coffee she knew I wouldn't drink. Journey's hair will grow back. Andre says. I don't care what Andre says. I care what Journey said. Ugly girls need to learn lessons. What does that mean, Tanya? Her hands trembled as she set down the coffee pot. It was a misunderstanding, she whispered, but wouldn't meet my eyes. Journey's been acting out at school. The teacher called because she wouldn't participate in group activities. Andre thinks she needs more discipline. By shaving her head? Humiliating her in front of everyone? That's not discipline, Tanya. That's abuse. The word hung between us, heavy, undeniable. You don't understand, Tanya said, tears filling her eyes. He has certain expectations. When they're not met. When they're not met, what happens, Tanya? Before she could answer, we heard footsteps on the stairs. Tanya straightened immediately, wiping her eyes and plastering on a smile that chilled me more than tears ever could. Andre appeared in the doorway, Journey trailing behind him like a shadow. "Dorothy," he said coolly. "What an unexpected surprise." Journey saw me and started forward, but Andre's hand on her shoulder stopped her. She froze instantly. That single gesture, and her immediate response, told me everything. "Just checking on my girls after the holidays," I said, matching his tone while smiling at Journey. "How's my sweetheart doing?" Journey looked at her father before answering. "I'm fine, Grandma." Her voice was flat, emotionless. Nothing like my vibrant grandbaby. "Journey has a piano lesson in 30 minutes, Andre said, checking his watch. "We need to get ready." "Piano?" I frowned. "She takes dance on Saturdays." "Not anymore," Andre replied. Dance was encouraging vanity. Piano builds discipline. Another piece of Journey being chipped away. After they left, Tanya collapsed into a chair. "He's changed all her activities," she whispered. "Pulled her out of Mrs. Kennedy's class because the teacher was too soft. Monitors her food for unnecessary sugar. He's installed cameras in every room to keep us safe." Her fingers made air quotes around his justifications. "Tanya, you need to take Journey and—" "I can't." Her voice cracked. "He's made sure I can't. The house is in his name. The car is in his name. He manages all our accounts. He has videos of me having anxiety attacks that he edited to make me look unstable." She lowered her voice even further. "He said if I ever tried to leave, he'd make sure I never saw Journey again." I felt sick. This wasn't just controlling behavior. This was calculated imprisonment. How long has this been happening? It started small. Suggestions about my clothes. Comments about my spending. Then criticizing my parenting. After his promotion last year, everything escalated. The night before Christmas, Journey refused to let him brush her hair. He said she needed to learn respect for his authority. I tried to stop him, but she touched her wrist, and I saw the yellowing bruise she'd been hiding. The moral choice before me crystallized with painful clarity. I could respect Tanya's marriage and watch my daughter and granddaughter disappear piece by piece, or I could fight a battle that wasn't technically mine to fight. No choice at all, really. "Listen carefully," I said, taking her hands in mine. "We're going to get you both out, but we have to be smart about this. Andre's not just controlling, he's dangerous." Tanya nodded, a flicker of hope in her eyes for the first time. What I didn't tell her was that I was already formulating a plan, one that would require every ounce of courage we had. Because some battles choose you, even when you never wanted to fight. If you've ever suspected someone you love is trapped in an abusive relationship, subscribe now. What I did next might just save someone in your life. I'm a nurse, not a detective. But 35 years in healthcare teaches you to look for patterns, to notice when something doesn't add up. Andre's behavior wasn't just controlling, it was methodical. And that scared me more than outbursts ever could. My investigation began with a coffee date with Renee Thompson, Tanya's closest friend since college. We met at a quiet cafe far from Andre's usual haunts. "I've been worried sick," Renee confessed, stirring her latte anxiously. "Tanya barely returns texts anymore. When she does, they read like someone's watching over her shoulder." "Someone probably is," I replied grimly. "What do you know about their finances?" Renee hesitated, glancing around before leaning forward. "I shouldn't tell you this. I could lose my job at the bank, but—" She pulled out her phone, showing me a screenshot. Andre's been moving money. Lots of it. The document showed multiple account transfers, joint savings emptied into accounts under only Andre's name. Property deeds changed. Investment portfolios reallocated. He brought Tanya in 3 times to sign paperwork, Renee explained. She looked vacant. When I tried to explain what she was signing, he interrupted, said they were in a hurry. My stomach knotted. Is Journey's college fund still intact? That's the thing that finally made me call you. Last week, he liquidated it. $40,000 moved to an offshore account. When I questioned it, he said they were restructuring their investments. The pieces were falling into place. Not just emotional control, but financial imprisonment. If Tanya left, she'd have nothing. There's more, Renee added, her voice dropping further. He's been recording Tanya. He showed our branch manager videos of her episodes, as justification for taking control of their finances. But her eyes met mine. The Tanya in those videos doesn't match the Tanya I know. It's like watching someone drugged. Ice ran through my veins. Has he changed her medication recently? She mentioned new sleeping pills. Said Andre got them from his doctor friend because her regular prescription wasn't working. That night, I drove to their neighborhood and parked down the street, watching. Andre left at precisely 7:30 p.m., his Thursday poker game. I had 1 hour. Tanya answered the door in a daze, eyes unfocused. Mama? What are you? No time, I said, stepping inside. Show me your medication. In the master bathroom, I found them, unmarked pills in her prescription bottle. How many do you take? I asked. 2 at night. Andre says they help with my anxiety. I pocketed several pills. My friend Beverly worked in the hospital pharmacy. She'd identify them. Tanya, I need you to look at some documents. I spread Renee's copies on the bed. Tanya stared, confusion clearing slightly as she recognized her signature. I don't remember signing these. Her finger traced a property transfer. This is my grandmother's house. He said we were just updating insurance. He's isolating you financially, I explained gently. If you tried to leave, you'd have nothing. Her face crumpled. I knew something was wrong. But he keeps me so confused. Some days I can't even remember what happened the day before. Those pills aren't just for anxiety, baby. Beverly says they're a powerful sedative, the kind that affects memory, makes you compliant. The shock on her face shifted to something harder. Anger breaking through the fog. Journey's college fund? She whispered. Gone. She closed her eyes, tears streaming down her cheeks. I've been such a fool. No, baby. You've been abused. There's a difference. The front door slammed. Andre's voice boomed from downstairs. Tanya. Where are you? Panic flashed across her face. I quickly gathered the papers, shoving them in my bag. Thursday poker ends at 9, she hissed. He's checking on me. Footsteps on the stairs. Tanya grabbed a book from the nightstand, arranged herself casually on the bed as I stepped into the closet. There you are, Andre's voice oozed false concern. You didn't answer when I called. I must have dozed off, Tanya replied, her voice suddenly soft, placating. From my hiding place, I watched my daughter perform a role I hadn't fully comprehended until now, the docile, grateful wife. The perfect victim. And Andre believed her performance completely. After he left again, satisfied his control remained intact, Tanya found me. I believe you now, she whispered, a new resolve in her eyes. What do we do? What she didn't know was that the pills in her system weren't the only secret I'd discovered. Beverly's analysis had revealed something far worse. something that transformed this from a domestic situation into potential criminal charges. Those pills weren't just sedatives. They contained compounds that would gradually deteriorate her health while mimicking natural illness, a slow poisoning that would leave no evidence. The game Andre was playing had much higher stakes than either of us had realized. We had a plan. A good one. With Renee's financial evidence and Beverly's analysis of the pills, we scheduled a meeting with Patricia Okonkwo, a lawyer specializing in domestic abuse cases. Document everything, Patricia advised. Every bruise, every threatening text, every financial transaction. We'll file for emergency custody and a restraining order simultaneously. For 2 weeks, Tonya played her role perfectly. Docile wife, taking the fake pills but hiding them under her tongue, photographing documents when Andre wasn't looking, recording his threats on her hidden second phone. Journey was starting to trust me again during my supervised visits. Her hair was growing back in soft, dark fuzz. She whispered to me during a board game, "Grandma, when can I come stay at your house again?" "Soon, baby," I promised. "Very soon." We were set to file the paperwork on Monday. Just 3 more days of careful pretense. Then Andre found the second phone. I was making Sunday dinner when my doorbell rang frantically. Tonya stood there, mascara streaking down her face, a hastily packed overnight bag clutched to her chest. "He knows," she gasped, pushing past me. "He found everything." She collapsed on my couch, shaking violently. I went to shower, and when I came out, he had my phone. He'd read everything. My notes, the pictures of the documents, my texts to Renee and Patricia. "Where's Journey?" I demanded. He wouldn't let me take her. Said if I left, he'd make sure I never saw her again. Her voice broke. He started calling people Mama, his lawyer friends, someone at the police department, saying I was having another episode, that I was paranoid, delusional. I reached for my phone. "I'm calling Patricia right now." Wheel. A police cruiser pulled up outside, lights flashing. 2 officers approached my door. "Dorothy Franklin?" The taller one asked when I answered. "Yes." "We have a welfare concern for Tonya Washington. Her husband reports she's off her medication and potentially a danger to herself." Tonya appeared behind me. "That's a lie. He's the dangerous one." The officers exchanged glances. "Ma'am, we have a court order for a psychiatric evaluation." He held up a document. Signed by Judge Raymond Henderson. Henderson. I repeated. Andre's golf buddy? The officer ignored my comment. "Mrs. Washington, please come with us. This is just for evaluation." "She's not going anywhere," I stated firmly. "My daughter is of sound mind. Her husband is abusive and manipulating the system." "Mom," Tonya whispered, "if I fight this, it'll look worse for custody." She was right. If she resisted, Andre would use it against her. Tonya walked out with the officers, turning at the cruiser. "Get Journey," she mouthed silently. I drove straight to their house, adrenaline pounding in my veins. Andre answered the door, Journey half hidden behind his legs. "Dorothy," he smiled coldly. "I was just explaining to Journey that her mother is sick and needs special help." "Let me see my granddaughter," I demanded. "Actually, that won't be possible." He handed me an envelope. "Temporary restraining order. You've been encouraging Tonya's delusions, interfering with her proper medical care. Judge Henderson feels it's best if you stay away from both Tonya and Journey until this is sorted out." The paper blurred before my eyes. "You can't do this." "I already have." His smile widened. "Tonya will receive the help she needs at Lakeside Behavioral Health. Journey will remain here with me, where she's safe from harmful influences." Behind him, Journey's eyes filled with tears. "Grandma," she whimpered. "It's okay, baby," I assured her, even as security guards appeared from inside the house. "Everything's going to be okay." Andre closed the door as the guards escorted me off the property. The next 3 days were the darkest of my life. Tanya was held for observation at a private facility where Andre's former roommate was clinical director. My calls to Journey went unanswered. Patricia's emergency motions were mysteriously delayed in the system. Then the final blow fell. A courier delivered documents to my door. Andre had filed for sole custody, citing Tanya's mental instability and my dangerous interference. The temporary hearing was scheduled for Friday. The evidence was damning. Edited videos showing Tanya at her worst moments, financial records indicating reckless spending, all transactions Andre had conducted, and testimonials from expert witnesses who happened to be Andre's longtime associates. I sat on my porch that evening, staring at the custody papers, feeling utterly defeated. Andre had outmaneuvered us at every turn. His connections ran deeper than we'd imagined, his preparation more thorough. My phone rang, an unknown number. "Mrs. Franklin? This is Nurse Wilson from Lakeside. I shouldn't be calling, but..." Her voice lowered. "Your daughter asked me to tell you to look at her old college yearbooks. Said you'd understand." The call disconnected. Confused, I went to the attic and found Tanya's Spelman yearbook. As I flipped through pages of smiling graduates, a name jumped out at me: Richard Andre Peterson. But the face in the photo wasn't my son-in-law. It wasn't Andre Washington at all. The man Tanya had married, the man who now controlled my daughter and granddaughter's lives, was living under a stolen identity. I called Patricia immediately, my hands shaking as I explained. "This changes everything," she said. "Identity fraud crosses into federal jurisdiction. Andre's connections in local courts won't protect him." "But we need proof," I countered, pacing my kitchen. "And fast. The custody hearing is Friday." Patricia was silent for a moment. "There's someone who might help. A former client who works for the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. No promises, but I'll call her now." By morning, Patricia had arranged a meeting with Special Agent Kimberly Hayes at a federal building downtown, neutral territory where Andre's influence couldn't reach. Agent Hayes studied the yearbook photo, comparing it with recent pictures of Andre on my phone. "Different men," she confirmed. "Facial structure doesn't match." "Can you find out who he really is?" I asked. Her fingers flew across her keyboard. "If he stole this identity, he likely has others. Let me run facial recognition against our database." While we waited, Patricia explained our situation. Agent Hayes listened intently, her expression darkening. "Financial manipulation, drugging, isolation. Classic patterns of coercive control," she noted. "Add identity theft and potentially practicing medicine without a license for those pills. We're looking at multiple federal offenses." The computer beeped. Agent Hayes' eyes widened. "Nathan Davis," she read. "Wanted in 3 states for investment fraud, identity theft, and..." She paused. "Suspected involvement in the death of his previous girlfriend in Boston. She died of apparent natural causes, but a posthumous toxicology report found unusual substances in her system." My blood ran cold, thinking of the pills Tanya had been taking. "He disappeared 5 years ago after liquidating his girlfriend's accounts," Agent Hayes continued. "Resurfaced as Andre Washington 2 years later when he met your daughter. We need to get Tanya out of that facility and Journey away from him immediately," I insisted. "We can't move too quickly," Agent Hayes cautioned. "If he suspects we're onto him, he might run, or worse." "My granddaughter is with this man," I said, my voice breaking. "Every minute matters." Agent Hayes nodded. Here's what we'll do. We'll coordinate with local authorities for a welfare check at both locations. Not arrests yet, just verification that both Tanya and Journey are safe. Meanwhile, I'll expedite warrants for financial records and medical fraud. By afternoon, the pieces fell into place with stunning speed. Federal jurisdiction bypassed Andre's local connections. Judge Henderson's emergency orders were suspended pending investigation. Records from offshore accounts revealed a pattern identical to his previous victims. The welfare check at Lakeside found Tanya heavily sedated, blood tests showing substances not prescribed by legitimate doctors. The clinical director disappeared when federal agents arrived. But the most damning evidence came from the house. The welfare check expanded into a full search once officers spotted surveillance equipment monitoring every room, including Journey's bathroom. They found forged documents, multiple identities, and a hidden safe containing vials of unmarked pharmaceuticals. Journey was immediately placed in my temporary custody while Tanya received proper medical care to safely detox from the substances in her system. I held my granddaughter that night as she slept in her old bedroom at my house, her small body finally relaxing after months of tension. Her hair was growing back unevenly, a visible reminder of what she'd endured. "We'll get through this," I whispered, stroking her head gently. "Both of you are safe now." What I didn't say was what Agent Hayes had told me privately. The substances found in Andre's safe matched those that killed his previous girlfriend. This wasn't just about control anymore, it was about survival. The hearing originally scheduled to determine custody became something very different. Instead of facing a biased local judge, Andre, or Nathan, found himself confronted by federal prosecutors with overwhelming evidence. When he realized his network of influence had collapsed, he tried one last desperate move. He offered to disappear forever in exchange for dropping all charges. "He thinks he can still bargain," Agent Hayes told me. "That's not happening. Not this time." If you've ever wondered if fighting for someone you love is worth the risk, subscribe now. Sometimes standing up against power is the only choice we have. The trial lasted 3 grueling weeks. Each day, Tanya grew stronger as the drugs left her system, her testimony more compelling as clarity returned. Journey didn't have to testify in open court. Her recorded interview with a child psychologist was devastating enough. I'll never forget the moment the verdict was read. 12 counts of fraud. 4 counts of identity theft. 3 counts of administration of controlled substances without license. 1 count of child endangerment. Nathan Davis, the man we knew as Andre Washington, was sentenced to 27 years in federal prison. As the bailiff led him away, he looked back once at Tanya. Not with remorse or apology, but with the cold calculation I'd seen from the very beginning. A predator sizing up prey that had somehow escaped. The aftermath wasn't easy. Recovery never is. Tanya struggled with shame, with guilt about not protecting Journey, with nightmares that left her gasping in the darkness. "How did I not see it?" she'd ask me repeatedly. "How did I let this happen to us?" Because he was an expert, I'd remind her. This wasn't his first time. Journey had night terrors for months. She'd wake up screaming, convinced her father was watching her through hidden cameras. The child psychologist explained that rebuilding trust would take time, that Journey needed consistency, safety, and patience. We moved into a new house together, the 3 of us. A fresh start without memories lurking in corners. Tanya slowly rebuilt her career, teaching part-time while taking classes toward her master's degree. The settlement from Andre's seized assets restored Journey's college fund and then some. Small victories marked our progress. The first night Journey slept through without nightmares. The day Tanya laughed without immediately covering her mouth. The afternoon Journey asked if she could grow her hair long again. "Of course you can, baby," Tanya told her. It's your hair. Your choice. Journey considered this seriously. I think I want braids like Grandma used to do. That Sunday, I sat on the porch with Journey between my knees, carefully parting and braiding her hair as it grew back. The gentle rhythm of it, the trust in her relaxed shoulders, felt like a prayer of thanksgiving. "Does it look pretty?" she asked when I finished. "Beautiful," I assured her. "But more importantly, how do you feel about it?" She touched the short braids carefully. "I feel like me again." 1 year after the verdict, we celebrated Christmas at our new home. No expensive catering, no perfect decorations, just mismatched ornaments, homemade cookies, and family who truly loved each other. Journey performed a halting piano piece, one she'd chosen herself, not been forced to learn. Tanya read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," with all the silly voices that used to make Journey giggle. I brought my famous sweet potato pie. Later, after Journey had fallen asleep beneath the twinkling tree lights, Tanya and I sat drinking tea. "You saved us, Mama," she said quietly. I shook my head. "No, baby. You saved yourself the moment you decided to fight back. I just helped you remember your strength." She leaned against my shoulder like she used to as a little girl. "I keep thinking about other women trapped like I was. Women without a mother stubborn enough to see through the facade." "Then maybe that's your next chapter," I suggested. "Using your experience to help others." She nodded slowly. "Maybe it is." As I looked at my daughter, stronger now than before her ordeal, I realized the most important lesson from our journey: evil thrives when good people stay silent. Control flourishes in isolation. Abuse festers in secrecy. The world is full of Andre Washingtons, charming predators who target the loving, the trusting, the kind-hearted. They count on our politeness, our reluctance to make a scene, our fear of being labeled troublemakers. But love is louder than fear. Truth is stronger than manipulation. And sometimes, fighting for your family means refusing to stay quiet when everything in society tells you to mind your own business. If you suspect someone you love is being controlled or abused, don't wait for permission to help them. Don't ignore the warning signs because confrontation feels uncomfortable. Be the voice they may have lost. Be the hand that helps them find their way back to themselves. Because family isn't just about blood, it's about standing together when darkness falls, holding tight until the light returns. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to hear more truths that need to be told. Together, we can break the silence that protects abusers and lift up those who need our courage. Lastly, download your ebook titled Suspense and Family Drama Short Stories by clicking the link in the pinned comment.